Okay, we're live. Hello, everyone. My name is Stacey Adelman, and I'm a registered psychologist and founder of Joshua Tree Learning Center. And we are here again today for Tuesdays at 12. So every Tuesday at 12, we like to jump on a Facebook Live and answer any questions that you might have, and just to provide some information about topics in general, services we're providing, and our groups we're offering. And so today I want to introduce you to Catherine Young. Catherine Young is a registered social worker. She has her master's degree in educational psychology. And Catherine is someone here at our center. She works a lot with the little people, lots with kids. And one of the things I've always loved about Catherine is she loves to just get involved with the kids, lots of sensory play, not scared to get messy, right? You're bringing in the oatmeal and bringing in all the sensory play, lots of fun up there. So I love that. And so Catherine's just been a joy on our team, and I just love her approach to learning. So I really wanted to bring Catherine on today as she has a new group that she's offering. It's called Success Squad. And Catherine does a lot of work with kids with a diagnosis of ADHD. So I thought, you know what, let's just talk a little bit about ADHD and the Success Squad. So Catherine, can you just tell us a little bit about what is ADHD and how does it show up in kids?
Sure. Thanks, Stacey. So ADHD is one of the most common neurodevelopmental disorders in childhood that goes on into adulthood. So it includes a combination of persistent problems. We often think of hyperactivity, kids bouncing off the walls, but it really encompasses a lot more than that. And what I like to center on are the executive functions. So attention, organization and time management, self-regulation and self-monitoring, impulsivity, working memory, processing speed, flexibility and rigidity, as well as emotional regulation.
Awesome. Okay.
So yeah, in kids, you would see. Go ahead.
Go ahead. So how would it show up in kids? What are some of the things you would see?
So in kids, we often see, and another thing I want to notice too is there's a gender difference. So when we think of ADHD, we often think of what is commonly noticed in little boys. So very hyper, unable to sit still, impulsive, kind of going outside the box. In females, it could be a lot more internalized. So very quiet, kind of keeping to themselves, not really engaging. In girls, it can show up a lot with friendship issues and things like that, disruptive emotions. So yeah, there's kind of a spectrum of things we could see with kids. Yeah.
Okay, so here at Joshua Tree, we do provide testing for kids to receive a diagnosis of ADHD, and that can there's a few different avenues we can take, but it's typically done with here at Joshua Tree, we do what we call a psychoeducational assessment. So we can screen for ADHD, often with checklists, with a cognitive assessment. We do checklists that measure, their executive functioning skills and focus, attention, emotional regulation, all of that kind of stuff. And that testing is typically done with a registered psychologist. You can also get a diagnosis with ADHD with your family doctor or pediatrician, and they can do that for you as well. So anyone considering a diagnosis, there's a couple of different avenues that we can take. And if you have questions about that, that's certainly something we can help you with. Catherine can guide you through that as well, some of the options and what some of the differences are. So when we created this group, or when you created this group rather, Catherine, it was really important to you in our discussions. You said, I really want kids to understand their diagnosis. Can you tell me a little bit about that and why that's so important?
Sure. So I think a lot of what we understand ADHD to be is rooted in challenges, deficits, what is not working for this child or person. I myself was a late diagnosed person, and thinking back throughout my life, there was a lot of, well, I'm just not trying hard enough. I'm just not good enough. This isn't for me. I don't know what I'm meant for. And so when I got my diagnosis, it really helped me kind of think about the impacts of that. And there's actually a statistic, a lot of leading psychologists or ADHD specialists have found that by about age 10, children with ADHD have heard, I think it was 20,000 criticisms or, judgments on their character and their abilities. So that shame and blame is really internalized. So
Yeah.
I want people to know there's a whole host of strengths and really important qualities that people with ADHD have. We might not fit into this little square box where, we have to sit at school all day and, follow all the rules. A lot of the strengths come from getting outside of that box and thinking about what works for me. Where do I find I'm successful? So
I was so excited when you came up with this group, because I was like, yes, that's, we just hear it so often. Kids hear it so often, things that they've been in trouble and continuously. And I think we just need to develop an understanding, and kids need to develop an understanding of just how to work with it. It's not a deficit, and I think I would agree with you 100%. So what do you mean when you talk about a strengths-based approach? How can that be incorporated into Success Squad? And how do you plan to use that strengths-based approach when working with some of the kids in your group?
Well, one of the biggest things I do is I give a lot of voice and choice. All my clients will have heard me say this more than once. You have a voice when you're in this group. You have a choice. I don't want to be, you're not in another school setting. I'm not your parent. We're going to explore what's working well together. So they have autonomy. They'll get a choice over what activities are interesting to them. They can move their bodies as much as they need to regulate, to listen. We're going to focus on what they're interested in, what they're good at, what they find they're naturally capable of doing. And it's really about empowering them to figure that out themselves. They don't have to do one thing. It's not a rigid approach.
I love that. And I love the idea of meeting people with where they're at, and us going in and trying to understand and learn about them, right?
Exactly.
And they're going to teach us, and we're going to work with that.
Yes, exactly.
Love that approach. Love that. What are some of the strengths of ADHD, and how can we use those strengths?
Oh my goodness. It blows my mind how often I'm surprised by what I'm seeing with people. Creativity is a really big one. And that's not just, making art. It's, I'm going to do this homework in a different way, right? Or I'm going to, there's a lot of empathy and understanding for other people. So social justice is a really big part of it, right? What's fair? What's equal? I'm seeing something that's not feeling fair for that person. Let me advocate for them. Just thinking outside the box, being very personable and engaging. That emotional dysregulation that feels like a challenge can be a blessing, right? I'm able to understand a lot of different people and put myself in their shoes, and I think those are pretty common strengths for people with ADHD.
Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of research coming out to support that the ability to adapt is really good, and definitely a strength. Yeah. Okay. Totally agree with that. How do you like to work with kids? I know right away I was like, I love how Catherine works. You just seem to be someone who's not scared to get your hands dirty here. How do you work with kids?
Well, I do have a strong preference for the expressive arts, and most kids who come to see me are interested in something creative in some way. So whether we're building magnificent Lego towers and using our building brains, or if we're painting and making different art projects, or so yeah, I utilize a lot of art, play, movement, sensory rich activities. I make slime so often. I have the recipes memorized. There's a lot of just the expressive arts, movement. So most of my groups will read a story and talk about that story, how that person in the story was impacted. Kind of.
I love that. I know the one day Catherine came down, she's like, "Oh, I'm just grabbing the vacuum. We were playing with oatmeal today."
All over the room.
All over the place. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. And so in your group, you're having a special, one of the evenings is just for parents.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your objective with having that evening for parents, and why is that important to you?
A lot of my focus is on empowering the young person to kind of figure that out themselves, but I also recognize they don't have all of the control in their family, in their lives. So we need parents to be on board. A lot of the stigma and negative associations are carried from their childhoods, right? What did we know about ADHD in the 90s and 80s? Those ideas are still there. So I've had a few parents say they don't want to use ADHD as an excuse, right? Or some kids don't even know they have ADHD because that stigma is so negative. So I want parents to have that same understanding their kids will. This isn't all bad. There are lots of challenges. It really is life in hard mode. But we can work with that. There's always 10 ways to do something, right? We can be flexible in our thinking. We can change our expectations. We can have a bit more empathy in, okay, what is my child going through? What are the daily struggles that they have to go through? How can I adjust what we do at home to make that easier for them? And in turn, that makes it easier for the whole family when we can have a bit of a more flexible approach.
Right.
Essentially, we need those parents to help it.
Right. And I think, when we are all coming at it kind of from the same angle or the same approach, that strength-based, that holistic type of approach, that we all have a role to play. We're part of a team. And when we can all work together, that just helps facilitate the same. I think it helps to end stigma. I think it helps to help us reframe how we look at, disability, and start seeing it as maybe just diverse abilities or different ways of thinking. I think we just need to reframe that, because that changes how we show up for kids and how we connect.
Exactly.
Right. And how we can be with kids and how we can learn from different ways of thinking and being. And everyone has a place on this planet, and we need to learn from each other and how to work together and kind of create that dance, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's just really, really critical and really, really important. I love the name too, Success Squad. I just think that's cool. And so tell us a little bit about the details and the logistics of it. So where and when you can provide us some of that information.
Sure. So it's set to begin on Thursday, March 7th for 7 weeks. So I think it'll take us to the end of April. We won't be meeting during the Easter break week when everyone's off, just to keep everything copacetic with schedules. It'll run for those 7 weeks. The first session will be for parents. So that'll be the parent session. They're going to get all of the information that children are getting just in advance, and there will be some parenting strategies and approaches, some tools that they can use in their home lives. The cost of the group is $680 for the full 7 weeks. It's going to take place here at Joshua Tree Learning Center in our playroom. Have I missed anything?
Okay. And to register, you can call by just call our office at 306-546-5674. And Kayla is our intake coordinator. So she'll talk with you over the phone and make sure that the group is a good fit. We are asking that people do have a diagnosis of ADHD, as that will be a lot of the focus is on describing the diagnosis and helping kids understand. So we want to make sure that they do, in fact, have that diagnosis. And yeah, you can call and Kayla will get you set up and make sure it's a good fit, and we'll get you set up that way. Now it would be covered under extended health benefits. Catherine is a registered social worker, so all receipts and everything will reflect that. So there could be coverage that way. So yeah, we really look forward to welcoming you to Joshua Tree, welcoming your family. If you have any questions about the group, please reach out. Catherine and I, or Kayla, we're all really happy to help in any way we can. And we look forward to supporting you. Catherine, any kind of final words before we sign off today?
No, I'm really excited to offer this. I've been passionate about ADHD and supporting individuals and families who are living with it for a long time. So yeah, I'm just very excited to connect with more people.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And the rest of you enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you again next week for Tuesdays at 12. Take care, everyone.